We're the voices that won't be ignored.
When I get the receipt from, I will copy it.
Oh, yes. All right. I still got the coffee.
Yeah, they will be released from the jail. They used to, and you check them, they'll change. You take your release papers, they'll give you a bus transport all the way up to like Florida City on the bus. So you don't have to pay for it. You can check that out with Nunez. Is that still going, Nunez?
What's that?
On the bus transport, is it still, they just take their discharge papers, they go for transport?
As far as I know, yes.
And there's literally a bus stop right outside, you walk the road to the sheriff's office right there.
Oh, I know where it's at. Ain't been that long. And I'll talk to David later. I'll hit him up on the tablet. Let him know what's going on.
You ready for the judge?
All right, Mr. Tucker, your fingerprints are signed. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Can we go out that way, please? They need to get a restroom and make sure they got your paperwork here. There's a restroom right around the corner, if you want to take a minute before you go.
Talk to you later.
It's over.
Yep, it's over.
I'll follow you out.
7 years,
Thank you
it's
all.
over.
All right, everybody. So that is a clip. We have the full hearing here that we're going to be playing in a little bit, but that was the moment that Ty Tucker walked out of a courtroom, a free man, sort of. So I have some updates for you on where he's at, what's going on. He is not yet free, believe it or not. He is free, but he's not free, okay, because of where he's at, where he was being housed at. Apparently, apparently the Department of Corrections has to take custody of him, and then they're going to transport him. They're having to transport him basically to I guess it's the center where they would have processed him into prison. This is what we're being told. And then he will then be allowed to leave. He will then be released from there. I believe that is, it's up near Tallahassee. No, Megan, I am not. So he is not yet free. You're not going to find him on the jail website because he's in transit. No one's been able to talk to him as of yet. Which is why we haven't heard from him. It's why he hasn't popped up on Facebook. But he basically had to be turned over to the Department of Corrections for processing, and then he had to be taken to the mainland facility where he will then be processed out and released. So he's got a little bit more time. Hopefully he'll be out by Thanksgiving, I would imagine. And when he is, we're going to hear from him. Rest assured of that. But I want to we're going to watch the hearing. Then I'm going to kind of give you guys some background on what's going on. So buckle up. Let me see. I want to get this in here. I literally, just as I was going live, I wasn't sure I was going to have the hearing, but I have it. So give me a moment. I have not watched it yet, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out. So you're going to be watching it with me live as... All right, so let's go over here. Wait a minute. Let's leave studio mode. There we go. All right. Hopefully I haven't. There it is. Okay. Here we are. All right, I had to get caught up in there. So here it is, guys. This is the hearing yesterday. It is 5 minutes and 34 seconds long. It's not long. You've already seen like 2 minutes of it. So here is the hearing where everything took place.
Sir, do you also understand that pursuant to Florida Statute 775.082, that because you are receiving a prison sentence, if you were to commit a qualifying offense in the state of Florida as listed under 775 1282, within 3 years of your release from Florida State Prison, that you could be classified as a prison releasee reoffender?
Yes.
All right. Are you being forced, threatened, coerced, intimidated, or made to enter into this agreement against your own free will?
No, sir.
You understand that you have the right, I assume you do, you've already exercised these rights. You have the right to a jury trial with legal representation. You have the right to present defenses. You have the right to testify. But you are giving up those rights by entering this no contest plea to count 1 of the amended information.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mr. Tucker, do you agree that the state could present evidence that, if that evidence were to be believed, would establish a factual basis to count 1 of the amended information?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Tucker, I find that you are alert and intelligent. You freely and voluntarily waived your rights. A factual basis exists, and the court will accept your plea. Does the state wish to make any statement at this time?
No, sir.
Mr. Tucker, do you wish to say anything?
No, sir.
All right. Sir, I'm going to go ahead and sentence you now in case number 2017 CF 841CK. Oh, yeah. Do you have a score sheet? Is it up here?
Give it to the court.
Mr. Tucker, your score sheet shows 93.5 points. So, first, do you agree?
Yes, sir.
This means that this is a downward departure.
Yes, sir.
This is a downward departure based on a legitimate, uncoerced plea. I will make these notes on the score sheet. All right, Mr. Tucker, you're going to get the benefit of your bargain. I'm going to go ahead and sentence you in case number 2017 CF 841CK. State what is your announcement related to all counts in the amended information and to the singular count of the indictment?
Judge, we're going to nullify all the other counts in the information and request, on the indictment, I think I have to request, dismissal or vacation or something along that line.
It's one of those 2 words, and I will grant your request. Mr. Tucker, to the singular remaining count, which is robbery with a deadly weapon while masked in violation of Florida Statute 812.13, you're hereby adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to 910 days in Florida State Prison with credit for 910 days. There's $865 of court costs, $100 cost of prosecution, $40 cost of investigation to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. There's a $50 public defender application fee. There's $8,533 of prisoner transportation costs. All of those monetary amounts will be reduced to civil judgment liens. Sir, you have 30 days to appeal. If you cannot appeal in 30 days, you give up your right to appeal. So if you cannot afford an attorney to take an appeal, one may be appointed for you.
And Judge Moore, one final thing, the defendant had asked us about returning his property. There's no objection to that property being released at this time.
So let the court minutes reflect that there's a stipulated motion to return the property of the defendant. So the case is now closed, pending 30 days for appeal. So I'm gonna grant that request. Just let the court minutes reflect that. So sometimes if you go to property, they either want a court order or court minutes that reflect that the property can be returned. Again, the state has stipulated that the case is closed. Mr. Tucker's property can and shall be returned to him. Mr. Tucker, I'm going to sign this right now, and perhaps we can even give it to the transportation deputy. Or do you want to scan
No, I
and
have
send
to
it?
upload it in the portal.
So it'll be uploaded momentarily. All right, court's in recess. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so this working signed, final judgment signed.
Go get your break real quick.
Yes, I'll do that right now.
How you doing,
So,
Glenn?
so it's over.
Huh?
It's over.
Yep, it's over. As far as I know.
How you feel?
Deputy,
Pretty
do
good.
we have fingerprints?
I'm gonna give him.
Call me later. Call me later.
Well, yeah, I can't call you later, but But yeah.
You're getting out today?
Well, no, not today. I won't be getting out today because they have to wait for a number from Tallahassee. But as soon as they get that, then I'll be released.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm a little late. Thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Tucker.
this way. Okay, sorry.
All right, guys. So that is the hearing. That's and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. I'm going to explain some things to you guys about what was going on. So as you can see there, that was his statement. But later, that reporter went to the jail, got in contact with officials, and that's where we're getting the information from in regards to the fact that it ended up being that they were going to require him to go through prison transport and get transported to the mainland. And I guess the ruling was that they were not going to allow him to just be released from the jail there. And under your scars, I'm sorry there. I pulled the microphone far away from me. I don't know how the quality's coming through, but it doesn't. My software doesn't allow me to turn it down or up. It's supposed to auto control it. As far as the audio is concerned. So, all I can do is try to push the microphone away so it's not coming in so close. But, essentially, you know, this is a good day. This is a good day for Ty Tucker. Mo Freedom, I don't know what you're talking about. He's not self-absorbed. He's an individual. If you found yourself in the situation that he found himself in, you may have a little bit of an attitude as well when it comes to the authorities down in Key West. I think as we're going to go through here, well, unfortunately on that one, under your scars, I'm limited on that because that was filmed on an iPhone inside the courtroom. So yeah, the audio is not going to be great on that at all. It's just the way it came through. And again, I literally got that. It was uploaded to me when I was going through starting when the other video was playing. So that was hot off the press. No one, not even that the other individual, the individual that sent that to me, he hadn't even seen it yet. He just heard I was going live. He finally got it from his contact down there and sent it over to me. So that was the first time anyone other than that reporter or anyone that was in the courtroom has seen what happened or occurred or heard that statement from Ty. I didn't even know Ty was going to make that statement at the end. I was just getting the briefing from that reporter. So that's allegedly what's going on. Like I said, so that's why Ty right now, he's free, but he's not free. So he's still somewhere. He's not listed. If you go down to the Monroe County Jail, he's not listed on the jail register. My understanding is like I said, he's in some form of transit today. Maybe he'll get out later today, or it might be tomorrow, but he should be out very, very, very soon because currently right now he's not serving any time because he had no time left to serve. It's just a matter of procedurally getting him through the procedures of getting him properly released. So, with that said, I want to jump over to the Monroe County Clerk's office to kind of explain the plea Ty took, explain what happened here, explain why this was a great move and why this is a huge victory for Ty. Well, Christine, all that will be done. I think when Ty gets out, I think the best way to do a fundraiser for Ty is I'm sure Ty will help Ty get things set up, and we'll make sure that it's an easy fundraiser so that wherever money's being donated, it's going directly to Ty. And there's no intermediaries or anything like that. Now that he's out of jail, that can be absolutely done. And we can definitely work on that. So I think that will be something that we can put together once we get a handle on where Ty is, what's going on, all of that stuff. All right, so let me share my screen here. All right, so what you should see behind me right now or next to me is the Monroe County Clerk's office. So there's been a lot of controversy here because everyone is looking at the disposition that says adjudicated guilty. What he did here and what happened with this plea is he entered what's called a no contest plea. Heard it now. What you didn't see or hear happen is normally when someone pleads guilty, the judge will require as a basis to accept the plea, it will require that the defendant make a statement to the court explaining what he did and explaining the basis for the guilty plea. On Ty's side, he needed to be able to still be in a position that if he wanted to pursue these things, he wasn't giving up any rights to do that. Because when you plead no contest, or that it's still a contested matter as to his guilt, and it would still allow him to raise any and all issues in regards to saying that he was wrongfully accused, etc. Now, in the spirit of what happens in court, he's adjudicated guilty. He's obviously not given credit for taking responsibility. And in this case, he was sentenced to 910 days. Now, the 910 days represents his incarceration time in jail. It does not represent his time that he spent out on home confinement. So that's why, that's why it's only the 910 days. Reality is this man spent over 7 years almost, I guess like 7.5 years, fighting this and dealing with this. It's actually kind of, I think it's kind of unique when you look at this and you look at the dates. I want you to look at his arrest date, 11/17/2017, and you look at the date, 11/26/2024. It's been 7 years exactly. By a few days. Say that 7 years ago, he was sitting in Monroe County Jail right now. 7 years ago, he was beginning this fight. 7 years ago, Lauren Junet was talking to him on the phone and starting this whole thing. And now 7 years later, he's finally, going to be able to begin the steps in the process of putting this behind him, if he can ever do that, because it's a traumatic event when you spend 7 years fighting for your life. So, amazing, right? But does but the nice part about this plea is obviously there's been some people out there that have come forward and said, oh, he pled guilty. He did not plead guilty. Okay. He did not plead guilty at all. In fact, I think it's very telling if they believe this. Look, John Travis Johnson had to be a snitch in order to get the same plea that Ty Tucker got. So if that tells you anything about this plea and what it means for Ty and what it means about his innocence, it's right there. You don't get this plea. You don't get what he just got, okay, ever. It's unheard of. He was charged with a capital offense, and he just got time served for doing nothing but showing up, okay? This is the loudest admission possible, besides them dismissing the charges, which they would not be willing to do because they know Ty Tucker has pending civil actions against him. This is such a loud rebuke of the charges that it doesn't get louder, guys. It doesn't get louder. They had this man locked up in jail, no lawyer, willing to go to court, willing to throw this thing against him. And these guys, they got a conscience in the end. They knew. Remember, Alvarez, the way this all came about is Alvarez and Mansfield came to Ty Tucker, my understanding is in the heat of the night, and begged him to take this deal. Begged him to take this deal because they did not want to be responsible for locking up an innocent man. That is what happened in this case. And I'm sure Ty Tucker will tell that story, or maybe he won't tell that story. I don't know what he would feel comfortable, but that's what I'm being told occurred. In the middle of the night, he was taken out of his cell, and they begged him to take this plea. Thank you, Under Your Scars. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So anyone who thinks that this is in any way indicative of any guilt, this is farthest from the truth. In fact, it's almost, in my opinion, better than if they just dismissed, because it's so unheard of, right? If they would have dismissed it, they would have just said, okay, there's a problem with the case. It's unheard of that someone who they just took to trial in January, who they claim they have all this evidence about, that they just allowed him to enter a plea to 910 days time served, no victim impact statements, nobody shows up. It's done in a 5-minute hearing. I want you to think about all the hearings you've heard. They did a downward departure in this case, okay? And for those of you that have been watching this channel, on Friday, we watched a hearing, a mitigation hearing. There is a mitigation hearing that is normally required. Did you hear the judge where he said this is a downward departure? Yes, it was a downward departure, Judge. This is unheard of. There was no cooperation. There was nothing. There was nothing but Ty Tucker showing up. And that's why Mansfeld and Alvarez knew this. So hats off to those gentlemen for doing that. Now, what they put him through, but hats off to them finally doing what they should have done a long time ago and figuring out how to resolve this case. And they are the ones that got this done because they knew in their heart that Ty Tucker, as much as they disliked dealing with him in court, they knew he was innocent. They know this is the right thing. They know, like we all know. They know. That's why I spent hours trying to prepare videos and things, because I know Ty Tucker is innocent of the charges that they had him on. And he pled no contest to robbery, but he is absolutely, well, that's correct. They say uncoerced, but it was coerced in a sense that they just did not want to have to go through what they were going to have to go through. And they were, and again, like, if they ultimately would have been successful in January, I mean, God, can you imagine? Can you imagine that unmitigated disaster if they would have been successful in January? All we can say is obviously the higher powers knew what was really going on in this case. They didn't allow this to happen. But what they've allowed for now is they have allowed for Ty Tucker to be in a position to go out and speak about this. Remember, Young Thug did something similar in his case. So this is in no way a bad move. This is a great move. This is absolutely what needs to be done. Now, let's go unsealed his plea agreement, but it will be coming. It's got a little clock on it. Normally it takes a little while. I think some of these things take like 48 hours or 72 days, or they may just wait till he's completely released to do it. But this is the minutes. I'm going to switch over to it. We're going to explain what you see here. So for those of you, if anyone out there is looking at this confused, we're going to break this down about as easy as we can so everyone understands. What this says is that he had 5 charges, and they null-prossed 5 charges. That means they fully dismissed 5 charges, okay? 4 charges. They null-prossed 4 charges, and he entered a nolo contendere plea, okay? A nolo contendere plea. I want you to look at this. There's guilt, and then there's nolo contendere, no contest. Guilt, admit, nolo contendere, no contest. There's bond, there's treated, speedy trial fact. There's nowhere on here that there's anything else. There's not guilty. There's guilty. There's nolo contendere, or otherwise known as no contest. It is not a guilty plea. Okay, he is maintaining his innocence completely and fully, and not have to make a factual basis for the plea. He did not have to say anything in court. So it was now, obviously that's still a no contest when it comes into court documents and records. Now, what happens though is once he pleads no contest, he essentially says, I'm not fighting the state. And the reason why I'm not fighting the state is because they're letting me out of jail. Okay? And if you need evidence that that's what is shown here, he's adjudicated guilty. They dismissed 2, 3, 4, and 5. He's sentenced to 910 days state prison. He gets credit for 910 days. And normally you would not get the computer back. You would not get your phone back. He gets all of his property back that was confiscated from him in both arrests. So he will be getting all of that back. All right. And then on top of that, all of the monies are being, instead of them being cash, him having to go pay, they're just being converted to a lien. Meaning, if he ever tries to own property or do anything in the state of Florida, they could try to come after him for it. But otherwise, they're not going to make it as part of a condition of probation. I mean, this is significant stuff. This plea is unheard of, okay? No one gets a plea like this. No one gets a plea like this if you're guilty of something, okay? No one. If they think you're guilty of something, you don't get a plea like this. And I think they knew already. Exactly right. He did well getting the miss. Listen, Ty Tucker absolutely did an amazing job. This guy's a hero down there. Okay, as you probably heard of some. Remember, he was talking about the fact that he was helping other people pro se. He was helping other people to do these exact same things. This is a tremendous victory. This is amazing, and he did an amazing job. He's got a lot to be proud of. He's got a lot to be proud of. And hats off to Ty Tucker. I'm glad this is behind him. You know, it's a shame that this couldn't have been worked out sooner. I think, unfortunately, I think they were offering a version of this, but I think one of the reasons, some of you may say, well, I think, didn't you hear? Well, yes, they were offering a version of this, but back when they were offering this after the trial, he had to go on probation for like 5 years. Remember, Travis Johnson, okay, he's on probation right now. He's got 5 years probation. This is unheard of. He is walking free. No supervised release, no probation. He is a genuine, besides the felony on his record, he has full freedoms of any other citizen out there. He can do whatever he wants, as long as it's obviously within the law. I mean, there's no bigger victory than what you've just seen here. No bigger victory than this for a citizen. For a citizen to be able to negotiate a plea like this is unheard of. It's unbelievable. No lawyers. Okay, remember what John Travis Johnson said. He had to pay a lawyer good money to negotiate the plea he got. Ty Tucker did this alone. No lawyers. Nobody. He did it himself. So that is the loudest possible proclamation of his innocence that could be made. And I think that's probably, if I had to guess, I would bet that if they were trying to sell this plea to him, maybe something like that was spoken to him, because it's just unheard of. It's absolutely unheard of. So that is the minutes. Now I'm gonna start and make sure it's showing up here. There it is. It is. So we're gonna go down the page here, so you can see where everything that got no prost. The aggravated assault, the homicide, the public orders crimes, all of it. I mean, look at it. Remember, he started out with 9 crimes. Now here you can see, this is what I was talking about. It looks like the sentencing guidelines score sheet is sealed. Probably sealed because, as you heard, the judge, and again, I'm going to play the sentencing one more time for those of you who did not get to see it. And see if I can get this thing played for us one more time. So these will eventually be unsealed, and rest assured we'll be going through them. And then you can see the rest of this stuff is all it's closed out. The case is closed. Now, this is not an easy situation for him, because you got to figure this guy's been unable to do anything for 7 years but sit in his house. So he's got to recalibrate. He's lost everything. Remember, when he went in, he was a married man, and now he's divorced. So he's got a lot of things he's got to catch up on. He's got a lot of things he's got to get to work on. And on top of that, he's got civil suits now that he's going to be focusing on that are going to be moving forward. So he probably will be in Florida again at some point. I mean, obviously for him, I doubt he wants to be down in Key West, but the good news is in civil cases, a lot of times he can get his appearance waived. He can have his attorneys there. Now, if they were to go to trial, he would have to come into town. But I have a feeling that maybe this is a situation that the state of Florida wants to just move on from, and that there could be some settlements happening or something like that. Potentially, I don't know. But we'll see how all that plays out. But I can imagine we don't want him down there in Key West. If I'm sure he doesn't want to be down in Key West because, again, remember, there's people down there that don't like him. There's people down there that are not going to be happy that he got this deal. There's people down there that are not going to like the things he's going to bring up in that civil suit. So it's not going to necessarily be at the safest place for someone like Ty Tucker, whom people are, who he's fighting the system down there. Now, it bodes well that they let him out. It bodes well that they gave him this plea. Like I said, it's a hell of a statement when you look at it and you consider the fact that this guy, like, he did nothing in return for this. I mean, I want that to settle in. He pled guilty or worked out a plea bargain on the most serious possible charges you could have in the state of Florida that could, in some cases, even amount to death penalty. And this man did not have to testify against anyone. He didn't have to give up anyone. He didn't have to cooperate with anyone. He didn't have to do anything but show up in court and say, I'm agreeing not to fight on the robbery charge. And they said, okay. And I'm maintaining my innocence on the robbery charge, Judge. And the judge said, okay. Not only did the judge say okay, but the judge, as you're going to hear again when we replay this, which we're going to replay this here in just a moment before we end the stream, the judge says, my God, this is a downward departure. Holy cow. And lo and behold, what is sealed but his prison sheet, the score sheet. Why is it? Because this is unheard of. What just went down is unheard of. Unheard of. No probation, no supervised release, nothing. He just walked out of court as if he was adjudicated not guilty. This is the same as a not guilty verdict without having to go to trial, without the state of Florida having to right away, without Ty Tucker making a showing of proof, open themselves up to problems in civil court, where if they just openly dismissed his case, they would be essentially, it would look bad. It would look very, very bad. So this is unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. It's a huge day for Ty Tucker. All of you who supported Ty Tucker, all of you who supported my channel, watch these videos. Listen, nobody hasn't been harder to generate support for, to get people behind him, because he doesn't have that backstory that everybody attaches to, like with Karen Reed. Karen Reed, she's got hundreds of thousands of millions of followers, but because she was an educated lady up in Massachusetts who they believe she was wrongfully accused, and everybody just gravitated to her. She comes from her background, everything about her. Ty Tucker is a homeless guy, educated guy, but a homeless guy who was involved in drug use and had his own vices and problems potentially down there. At least that's what the backstory was. And the police decided to do some shady shit. And guess what? The world left him behind, except for one person, Lauren Janae. And this is a big day for her too. She should be very proud, because she set this in motion. Because if she wouldn't have been there from day one, if she wouldn't have provided him with the resources to fight originally, he would have never gotten to this day. Okay? Without her, and I know they split up and they have their problems, but without her, he would have never made it to where he did. And amazing lady there, amazing what she did, amazing for believing in him. And she helped him get here. And although, of course, obviously they're not, maybe they will appear at some point together, but this is a huge day. So she deserves all the credit in the world for what she did, for the resources she expended, the money that she expended. She spent thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million, millions possibly, on legal defense. She fought herself. She got sued herself. And Ty, he got sued. Oh, she's recovering from surgery. I'm sorry to hear that. I got to send out a condolence on that, or not condolence, but just to, get well soon. And congratulations, because this is a huge day of celebration for her. It should be, at least, because she without, like I said, without that intervention, and again, all that's happening 7 years ago. Right now, they're getting in contact with each other. They're having phone conversations. She's wondering what the hell, because she knows who Ty Tucker is, and she says, this doesn't sound like the Ty Tucker I know. So amazing. So this is a great day. This is a fantastic day. This is a fantastic day for everyone who supported this man. And again, Ty will be out, and Ty will talk, and Ty will have conversations, and you're here for him. But for right now, he's obviously going absolutely P. Lola's mom. And there's a lot of people that have disputed that fact, but it's very true. And that's the point. Yes, any of us could find ourselves in that situation. Any of us have made decisions or been around people at times or places, and it was just a matter of just, hey, we got lucky. We walked away from it. Oh, good. I'm glad, because I remember her talking about that a while back when we were in communication, and she said she had shoulder problems. So I'm glad she got that taken care of. That's awesome. It's good. Just, this, like I said, just amazing situation. Amazing day for justice, even though it would have been better for not guilty, even though it would have been better for an outright dismissal. That's not the justice system we live in. But what this is working out the best outcome that you could. This is Ty Tucker doing an amazing job without a law degree, without any training, and he got himself here. Hats off to the man. He did a hell of a job. And as somebody who's been around that process, I know more than I know more than anyone else how difficult it is to get an outcome like this, and appreciate it because of what I've seen in the history with my dad and the history around the legal system. And it's unheard of. My dad used to always say, you got to get a lawyer, right? If you don't get a lawyer, the judge will run all over you. And to a degree, the judge was running all over him. But guess what? Ty Tucker got an outcome that he liked. Ty Tucker got the best possible outcome that he could have, the smartest possible outcome. He was playing chess. Well, they were playing checkers in a sense, and he got them. He checkmated them, and he has, because the reality of the situation is what he's done here. A not guilty, they could have blamed it on the jury. An outright dismissal or some sort of procedural dismissal, like that, maybe if they would have let the 90-day rule accelerate, that wouldn't require any special. Now, an outright dismissal, now that would have also been obviously a saying. But next to an outright dismissal, this is almost like, how do you explain someone that you think is guilty of doing what he's alleged to have done, and you let this man walk out with no probation, no supervision, 910 days time served? He gave nothing back in return. Nothing back but his innocence. That's what happened here. There he's, like I said, next to them just outright dismissing. And I'm sure Mansfield and Alvarez explained and knew, and they said, listen, Ty, that's not happening. Dennis Ward will not do this. Rest assured, this was not a victory. This was a disastrous outcome. As disastrous as it could be. It's, and worse than a not guilty. Because when you have to explain to your voters, when you have to explain to the people, when you have to explain to the governor that says, wait a minute, you're telling me that a private citizen with no law degree was such a formidable foe in court that you couldn't convict him with all this evidence that you claim to have? You took him to trial once, got a mistrial, he outflanked you there. So what's the deal here? Did you prosecute a not guilty guy? Did you prosecute an innocent man? Because it sure sounds like you did. And there's no louder way of saying that than what they just did here. Maybe they didn't think it through. I don't know. I think an outright dismissal would have been better here. But I think they knew that would have opened up the door right away in the civil actions and and the people out here. And they know that they knew that at least for now, that the general public would not just go, oh, they dismissed it. People are going to have to dig a little deeper and take a little closer look, okay, at this, to understand it. But the reality is, this is a loud proclamation of his innocence, and I hope Ty will say that to everybody. I hope if he gets a chance to talk to Vinnie Politan and different people, that he makes it clear that this is the loudest way that the state of Florida could have said this man is innocent, because the disparity in the sentence he received versus what he's accused of doing. What he pled no loco to is he's alleged to have masked himself up. This is what the state of Florida is leaving with us, right? Anyone who thinks this means Ty Tucker is guilty, the state of Florida has said that a man can mask himself up, take a knife in, cut one person's neck, assault another. Remember, Phelps says he did all this. He's the guy. Stab another man in the back, kill him, rob him of $1,000 in drugs, and leave and go back. And they said the value of that, 2 people injured. Remember, there was a stabbing recently, okay? A Florida judge, the Pearson case. 3 people got stabbed. No one died. That young man got a life without parole sentence. They had a mitigation hearing where they were asking for 12 years. It wasn't a robbery. It was a heat of passion situation. Life in prison, no parole. 3 people stabbed outside of Chubby's wings. And Ty Tucker walks into court and is given a plea bargain where he pleads no contest, is given 910 days, time served, no probation, no supervision, nothing. His fines are reduced to a civil lien, which means he'll never have to technically pay them. And he's allowed to walk out of court and leave the state of Florida a free man, completely free. There was no victim impact statement. No one was asked to come in. There was no probation report. There was nothing. There was a 5-minute hearing. If that is not the loudest statement of innocence that the state of Florida knows, they had an innocent man wrongfully accused, charged with 9 crimes. There is no louder way of saying it than that. Period. End of story. And you even heard the uncomfortable surprise in the judge's voice. And we're about to play this again for those of you that might not have been here earlier. The uncomfortable surprise in Judge Morgan's voice when he realizes, holy smokes, this was a downward departure. And the significance of that is lost on people who don't understand what that means. Because normally a downward departure would require a hearing, would require a showing of mitigation, a complete mitigation hearing. And the state agreed to it. And they agreed the mitigation was what? The mitigation was innocence. This is unprecedented. This is an unprecedented plea agreement. The magnitude of this and what just happened in a courtroom was, this is unheard of, guys. This is historical. This wasn't covered by anyone. This was done in a 5-minute hearing, shoved under. But we're going to at least bring light to it. We're going to give Ty the voice, and I hope Ty goes around, and I hope Vinnie Politan, who said he was going to cover it and never did, I hope Long Crime, who had the nerve to put that ridiculous judge up, who tried to say Ty Tucker was an arrogant jerk of a pro se defendant, I hope she eats her freaking words right now. I hope she explains and puts a video up explaining how the state of Florida stomachs a plea deal like that. How prosecutors who prosecute a man for 7 years can explain a plea deal like that. And the answer is they're sending the message. They're never going to explain it. And they're going to say the message is he's innocent. That's why they did this plea deal. All right. let's watch this one more time, guys. Let's take the satisfaction of watching the moment here of freedom. All right, and let me share this, put this up, make sure volume, we're going to try to maximize the volume as much as we can. And hopefully
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you also understand that pursuant to Florida Statute 775.082, that because you are receiving a prison sentence, if you were to commit a qualifying offense in the state of Florida as listed under 775.082 within 3 years of your release from Florida State Prison, that you could be classified as a prison releasee reoffender?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you being forced, threatened, coerced, intimidated, or made to enter into this agreement against your own free will?
No, sir.
You understand that you have the right, I assume you do, you've already exercised these rights. You have the right to a jury trial with legal representation. You have the right to present defenses. You have the right to testify. But you are giving up those rights by entering this no contest plea to count 1 of the amended information.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mr. Tucker, do you agree that the state could present evidence that, if that evidence were to be believed, would establish a factual basis to count 1 of the amended information?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Tucker, I find that you are alert and intelligent, that you freely and voluntarily waived your rights. A factual basis exists, and the court will accept your plea. Does the state wish to make any statement at this time?
No, sir.
Mr. Tucker, do you wish to say anything?
No, sir.
All right. Sir, I'm going to go ahead and sentence you now in case number 2017 CF 841CK. Do you have a score sheet? Is it up here?
Give it to the court, Mr.
Mr. Tucker, your score sheet shows 93.5 points. So, first, do you agree?
Yes, sir.
This means that this is a downward departure.
Yes, sir.
This is a downward departure based on a legitimate, uncoerced plea.
And there it is, folks. You just heard that. Now, I understand some of you may come back and say, he just said he agrees. That is a standard agreement that says he's not contesting when he agreed and said that the state of Florida can prove their case. He's agreeing that, yes, they have the evidence. He has to do that they have the evidence, that they presented it. And in this case, he's just saying, yeah, they could make a factual showing because John Travis Johnson would be the one that would say he did this. Okay? But like I said, the reality of this thing is, okay, that's so amazing is right here. He just looked at that. He said, you're 93.5 points. This is a downward departure. And what is the basis for it? An uncoerced plea? That's the basis for a downward departure? Really? An uncoerced plea? Because I think Spencer Pearson put an uncoerced plea into the court. Did he get a downward departure? No. Not only did he not get a downward departure, they racked him up to life without parole. So it's pretty clear here what an amazing, insane deal this is that Ty Tucker has worked out himself. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Well, absolutely, Megan. Yes, a pre-sentence investigation will be done. Listen, the fact that this was done in this way with such serious charges, and he was given 910 days, time served and allowed to walk out, is the loudest possible way that the state of Florida could have said this man is innocent. Anyone who thinks differently, I don't know where the disconnect is. This is unheard of. This is crazy. Now, they get to fall back and say, well, he just acknowledged in court we could prove it. Well, he did. He said you might be able to prove it. He did not say he did it. He just said they could make a showing of proof that possibly could have shown that he did this. Okay? And You know, but it's not, he did not have to say he did it. He did not have to give a factual representation of what it was. And then, interestingly enough, like I said, the greatest showing of what this is and what this means is in the fact of what you just heard there from the judge when he says this is a downward departure. You know what? Let's just we're gonna wind that back a few minutes, a few seconds. Here it is.
This is a downward departure based on a legitimate uncoerced plea. I will make these notes on the score sheet.
All right, I want you to look right there. Look at that. All right, let me see if I can zoom in here. I don't think it'll let me. I want you to look at that scene that you see right there. Okay? That scene is telling. Yes, that was the moment that the judge was saying the part about the downward departure in an uncoerced plea. Because these two guys realize what a sweetheart deal this is. These two guys right here, that's Alvarez, that's Mansfield. They are looking at each other like they're laughing because they're like, this is unheard of. This is crazy. The judge is actually having to state in court that the basis for a downward departure, mitigation of sentence of this magnitude is an uncoerced plea. And at the moment they say uncoerced plea, there they are laughing right there because they know this is anything but an uncoerced plea. I mean, they revoked his bond. They threw him in jail. They practically withheld all, any and all pleadings from him, made it almost impossible for him to defend himself, and then came to him and said, well, Ty, with this circumstances, do you really want to retry again? They lied to the jury. They misrepresented things to the jury and lied about the knife, lied about the police interrogation. And there you have it, guys. That's the epitome of everything right there. That sums everything up. That's right. That's right. Pencils, Megan Bastenbacher. You're right. Pencils. No pencils. Nothing but pencils. They gave him mini golf pencils in order to try to conduct his defense with. And there you have it. At the moment this judge said uncoerced plea, that was the reaction of the district attorneys. Screenshot that, put that up, throw that everywhere, put that everywhere, because there it is. There it is. Uncoerced plea. I mean, nothing more telling. Nothing more telling than that.
Score sheet. All right, Mr. Tucker, you're going to get the benefit of your bargain. I'm going to go ahead and sentence you in case number 2017, CF 841CK. State what is your announcement related to all counts in the amended information and to the singular count of the indictment.
We're going to no cross all the other counts in the information and request on the indictment. I think I have to request dismissal or vacation or something along that line.
It's one of those two words, and I will grant your request. Mr. Tucker, to the singular remaining count, which is robbery with a deadly weapon while masked in violation of Florida Statute 812.13, you're hereby adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to 910 days in Florida State Prison with credit for 910 days. There's $865 of court costs, $100 cost of prosecution, $40 cost of investigation to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. There's a $50 public defender application fee. There's $8,533 of prisoner transportation costs. All of those monetary amounts will be reduced to civil judgment liens. Sir, you have 30 days to appeal. If you cannot appeal in 30 days, you have the right to appeal. So if you cannot afford an attorney to take an appeal, one may be appointed for you.
If there's one final thing, the defendant had asked us about returning his property. There's no objection to that property being released at this time.
So let the court minutes reflect that there's a stipulated motion to return the property of the defendant. So the case is now closed, pending 30 days for appeal. They either want a court order or court minutes that reflect that the property can be returned again. The state has stipulated that the case is closed. Mr. Tucker's property can and shall be returned to him. Mr. Tucker, I'm going to sign this right now, and perhaps we can even give it to the transportation deputy. I mean, or do you want to scan
No, I
and
have
send
to
it?
upload it in the portal.
So it'll be uploaded momentarily. Court's in recess, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so this working signed, final judgment signed.
Go get your break real quick.
Yes, I'll do that right now.
How you doing,
So it's over.
Huh?
It's over.
Yep, it's over. As far as I know.
How you feel?
Deputy,
Pretty
wants to
good.
be at fingerprints?
I'm gonna get ready.
Call me later. Call me later.
Well, yeah, I can't call you later, but yeah.
You're getting out today. Today.
Well, no, not today. I won't be getting out today because they have to wait for a number from Tallahassee. But as soon as they get that, then I'll be released.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
Let's try.
I'm a little late. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr.
Oh,
Tucker.
this way. Wait, okay, sorry.
Good, probably have to take care of it.
Mr. Master, you want your copy of the judgment sentence? And
So there you have it, guys. Again, for those of you who hadn't seen it, if you weren't here earlier when we played it, that is the hearing. Now, there's also another clip that was taken of him as he left, which has already been played. I played it to start this thing out, and it basically continues from him taking his, getting his fingerprints done, and then exits the courtroom. And he says it's over after 7 years. It's over, right? So it's over. But let me tell you something. Unfortunately, that is a reporter that was assigned. I don't have the identity of that individual. I mean, you could thank them here. They might be watching. I will send thanks through my contact. But there's no way to thank that individual that I know of currently right now. If I find out a way, I will put up the information. But they captured a moment of history. I mean, they captured a moment of unprecedented history in court, because this plea bargain that you just heard accepted is unbelievable. And I understand there is a part. That's correct. Yeah, I don't know the individual. I don't know the individual's identity except for what you heard in that video. So I can try to find out. Like I said, I was in receipt of that video literally while I was on air. That was when that came through to me. I wasn't expecting to get it. I was hoping to get it so we could play it. But I wasn't certain it was going to come. It did. So I will definitely reach back out and double back and see what I can find out as far as if that person wants to be identified or not. And you know, whatnot, put a little, put something up on Ty's page or whatnot, put it up on my community page. But, you know, like I said, this is an amazing plea. This is unheard of. 910 days, walks out, no probation. All costs are reduced to judgment liens, which essentially make them never probably will ever have to be paid. And it's over. Case over. It's over. So with that said, guys, if there's no other questions, we're going to end this live right now. There will be other lives as the case file opens up and things get released. I'll go through those documents. We'll continue going through them. There's other things. Listen, I've still got coverage. I've still got things that I wanted to put up that had never gone up. This came unexpectedly. I thought I had more time than I did. We're still going to be doing it. I'm still, as promised, we're going to be putting up the Rory Wilson trial. That's coming. I still have that, all AI. In fact, I was thinking that it might be good. It might be good soon. Absolutely, I will, under your scars, and I'm sure he will. And not only will he probably come chat, but we'll probably have him up here, hopefully, as a guest. No, Nick Nunez, he did not call in because Ty right now is currently in transit. He is out technically of the Monroe County Jail, but he's being transported to a facility That is a mainland facility. I'm told it's a reception center. And then he will be released from there. To our knowledge, he has not been released yet. But we believe it will be imminent. And when he does, I'm sure he'll be making contact. And as soon as I know he is, I'll put something up on my community page, let everyone know. And like I said, lots of things to come. The fight's just beginning. So we got lots to fight for. We got lots to get done on this. This is not over. This is a beginning. It's not an end. Although it's an end of the worst part of it, which was the Ty being incarcerated. Now the part comes of enlightening everyone, of him being able to talk, and now he's armed exactly with the attention-grabbing situation. I mean, who doesn't want to talk? Who doesn't want to talk to somebody who just got a deal like this? I mean, we got to get an explanation. Nick Nunez, you said he is out. Do you have confirmation that he's out? My knowledge was he was somewhere in transit, potentially going to be released. He's supposed to be released at some point today. As I just played the video, if you go back, you'll see the video of his sentencing hearing, and you'll see that Ty gave a statement, something I will be putting up as its own little snippet. Ty's first statement out, but and then my source tells me that he's out now. Nick, he's out of the jail, but what my source is telling me is that he is out of the jail, but he is not out. He had to be transported to the mainland. So he's out of the jail. He's not technically going to show up as part of the correctional system, because what they're basically doing is taking him to a mainland facility where he will then be picked up. So, but he is not in the Monroe County Jail any longer. That is correct. But he is, what I'm being told is he is in the middle of he's being transported. I was told the closest reception center, which is where inmates would normally go to get processed in, that he was going to be taken there, and then he was going to be released from there to whoever's picking him up or however he's going, wherever he's going. But that they were not going to allow him to walk out of the jail, because this was not a situation where he was being released from the jail, because he technically had to be processed. He's technically in the custody of the Department of Corrections, not the jail. So I don't know. That's what I was told. And they were requiring him to be transported to a mainland correctional facility for his release. Why, I have no idea. I guess it's just the procedural way they're requiring it to be done. But I'm sure when he gets out, like I said, as soon as he gets out and he makes contact with somebody, I will be aware of it. Or I should be aware of it rather quickly. And I'm sure maybe Ty himself will just pop on his Facebook or something, because he's getting his cell phone back. He's getting his computer back. He's just got to get him turned on, and then he'll be in contact. So, like I said, great day for Ty Tucker today. Yesterday. It'll be even better if today he's breathing fresh air without having to have any government breathing down his back, with no. Remember, he had an ankle monitor that was on his ankle at all times. I mean, this guy hasn't enjoyed real freedom in 7 years, over 7 years. So, big day. So, anyways, guys, we're going to end this the way we began it. I'm going to show you the footage once more of him walking out of the courtroom. And I think that's how we're ending this thing. So, if there's any other questions you guys have, let me know. Like I said, we'll do other lives. If there's any comment in the comments of this video, if you're watching it, put your questions in it, and we will prepare another live. I'll do another live if I get answers to those questions, if I have enough of them, and we'll do another live just centered around those questions. Then, like I said, as soon as the documents become unsealed, we will do another to finalize that and go through, because there's about 40 pages of documents related to this plea that we're waiting to get unsealed. So, appreciate you all. Appreciate you under your scars. Thank you for your generosity earlier. Appreciate everyone for watching, everyone for giving this a watch. Hit the like button on your way out. Help this get around. Help communicate this message. So if there's anyone with a question about this plea, if there's anyone who tells you Ty Tucker pled guilty or anything, you send them to watch this. Get them right on what happened. You want the truth, come right over here, and you're going to hear the truth. And you're going to hear the truth about what's happening with Ty. And I'll break, we broke it down here. I'll break it down again. More information's coming. Like I said, couldn't come at a greater time. Lots to be, lots to give thanks to right now, especially if you're Ty Tucker, who's tasting freedom right around Thanksgiving, where 7 years ago it was a nightmare, and completely the opposite right now. So, anyways, guys, with that said, I'll leave you with Ty walking out of the courtroom. We're going to walk out of the live. Ty's going to walk out of the courtroom, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Let justice prevail. Happy Thanksgiving to all. We don't talk again before Turkey Day. I already celebrated yesterday, but I'll be eating leftovers tomorrow. So, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Let justice prevail. And Ty, if you're out there and you listen to this, man, so happy for you, brother. Can't wait to talk to you. And the fight's just beginning.
When I get the receipt from, I will copy it.
Use the restroom before you leave.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I still got the coffee on it.
Yeah, they will, be released from the jail. They used to, you check them, they'll change. You take your release papers, they'll give you a bus transport, all the way up to like Florida City on the bus. To get out the paper. You can check that out in Nunez. Is that still going, Nunez?
What's that?
On the bus transport, is it still, they just take their discharge papers, they go for transport?
As far as I know, yes.
And there's literally a bus stop right outside, you walk the road to the sheriff's office right there.
Oh, I know where it's at. Ain't been that long. Thank you. And I'll talk to David later. I'll hit him up on the tablet. Let him know what's going on.
You ready for the judge?
All right, Mr. Tucker, your fingerprints are signed. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Can you go out back way, please? They get to the restroom and make sure they got your paperwork here. There's a restroom right around the corner, if you want to take your minute before you go.
Talk to you later.
It's over.
Yep, it's over.
I'll follow you out.
Thank you.
7 years,
Thank
it's
you all.
over.
Thank you all.
The system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. Marching with a purpose, we're taking it higher. Fighting through the struggle, igniting the fire. No more silence, we'll make the noise loud. Together in this battle, standing strong and proud. Injustice fades when courage aligns. Rise up together, break the confines. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. So rise up now, it's our time to shine. Together we'll write a new paradigm. You paradigm,